What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here. Today, we're going to be talking about some stuff that I think most of you will be surprised that people don't know. But I've been getting a lot of comments on videos about things that seem like common knowledge to me and seem like common knowledge to probably a lot of you, but some people don't know the answer to these questions. So let's dive into sort of little things, right? Little things that maybe not everyone knows. Let's dive right in. And welcome back, guys. Like I said, I wanted to go over just a few things that I think a lot of people don't realize about the game. So some of these things are going to be sort of repeats of things you've heard in previous videos from myself or from other content creators or just from the community in general. But there's a lot of things in the game that a lot of people who are coming from other games who have just recently started Watcher of Realms maybe have no clue that you can do in Watcher of Realms. So let's start off with I think is probably the best quality of life in a game, and that is this function right here. I don't have any currently, but the ability to sell 3-star heroes for diamonds. Every 3-star hero in the game is worth 30 diamonds. You can click this button right here. It will select every 3-star hero on your account. In fact, we actually can show you, because I have some 3-star heroes that I've built. You could see here, I'm not going to sell this one because I actually use this hero, but you could sell heroes and get 30 diamonds in exchange for this 3-star hero. This is very, very good. It's a good refund for summoning, right? That's probably the biggest thing that it's used for. And it's just really helpful. A lot of the 3-star heroes are not very great, and the ones that are good, you only need one copy of them. So for example, your Autumns, your Cukes, you know, your who else we got? Let's go. What other 3-stars we got up here? Let's find them. I know we have some other ones somewhere. Decimus is one of them. I'm not sure where he is right now. Oh, here he is. Decimus, right? Narvi, right? There are a few of these 3-stars that are very good that you do want to keep. Your best bet pretty much is just to lock them, and you won't sell them this way, but you could sell almost all of your other 3-star heroes because realistically they're not amazing. They don't really do too much for you, at least at the time of recording this video, and so because of that you can just get some extra diamonds back, which is really helpful in certain summoning events, etc. Not only can you sell the 3-stars though, is you can also sell 4-stars and 5-stars in fact. So for example, if I go through here, you'll see all these little circles or hexes, whatever they are, that have numbers in them, right? The 1, here's a 4, here's a 5. And if you have an extra copy of a champion, which I don't think I have at the moment, but we're going to scroll through and see if we do. But if you have an extra copy of an epic or a legendary champion, you'll be able to sell that as well. So I don't currently have one, so we're going to use this Novarus. I'm not going to sell it. But if you were to select a epic or a legendary champion, you would be able to come in here and select it, and what it would do is it would give you different resources. So the 4-stars will give you the epic awakening tokens, and the 5-stars will give you the legendary awakening tokens. These can be sold and give you options to purchase various things. If you come into the store and you go to the awakening shop, you can see all the things that you could purchase. So for epic awakening tokens, you can purchase 1 rare hero soulstone, 1 experience boost for a day, up to 5 copies of times 50 auto fight chances, so 250 in total, 10 of these primitive spirits, and you can also purchase 1, 2, or 3, all 3 of them if you want, of these specific hero soulstones. That's for epic soulstone. Or sorry, epic awakening tokens. There we go. Then for the legendary ones, you'll have access to 1 of the legendary awakening stones, right? So for example, this week it's Valeria for 400 of them. You also have a chance to purchase an ancient summoning stone. You also have a chance to purchase the legendary skill stone. Now the legendary skill stone does alternate. So sometimes it is the legendary crystals, sometimes it's the epic crystals. My personal recommendation: every week, you should be buying the experience boost, the auto fight chances, the primitive spirit, and if you can, the legendary skill stone with epic awakening tokens. As far as the other epic awakening tokens, if there is a specific champion you're looking to push up to A5, it's not necessarily a bad idea to push these because eventually you're going to get to the point where you have a ton of these and no one to use them on. So you could use them. It's not the end of the world. You're not going to waste anything. But that's up to you, right? I would highly recommend purchasing these things because they are a resource and you can use that resource to progress yourself further. As far as the legendary skill tokens, I think your best bet is going to be saving up for a specific soulstone in the store. For example, if you happen to get a soulstone for someone like a Zillatu to take to A1 or a Silas to take to A1, whatever the case may be, that's probably the best use. But I have heard some people say that they just use theirs on legendary skill tokens. It's up to you. That one I'm not going to give recommendation on because I've never even gotten to the point where I have enough to purchase any of these things because I've never gotten an extra dupe. The 25 that I have here are from Guild Boss, so don't worry too much about that. Just eventually you'll get to the point where you have an A5 hero. It's not the legendary and you'll be able to get another copy of that and then you can sell it off. But even then you have to get 4 of them to even, have a chance to grab this. So nothing super crazy there, but that's the first tip, guys. You can sell heroes for various resources. That's kind of how you do it. The second thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is Tide. So Tide is a daily chance event. So you want to make sure, especially in the early game, that you're coming in here and you're doing your 3 battles every day, or at least attempting to do your 3 battles every day. For example, for myself, I just recently pushed over this number, but I know that once I beat this stage, I'm not going to be able to beat the next stage because the jump at this level is much higher. So I'll not be able to even touch 146. So I haven't really pushed myself too far to push 145. But at the lower levels, right, at these lower levels, the number jump is not as much as it seems, and there's a lot of good rewards in here, right? You get tons of skill stones and epic hero awakening tokens and diamonds, all sorts of really good stuff. So as you're progressing through the game, make sure you come in here and do your 3 chances every single day, because there's also a very important resource in here, which is this one right here, the Volca Soulstone. That's really important for certain strategies in the game. So highly recommend you come in here and you do your 3 attempts at Tide every single day. Another thing about Tide is the Tide talents. So you'll start off in basic talents, just go through here, do them as you do them. Eventually you'll get to the point though where you'll unlock the peak talents. And the peak talents are just flat stat boosts to specific classes or things like that, right? So for example, mages, you just get a 30% attack for mages once it's masked. Ground units, this is for both tanks and fighters. Then you have marksmans, this is only for your marksmans, and healers, this is only for your healers. Now I didn't know this at first. I just thought, well, my best characters that I'm using are mages, so let me go max my mage. This was a minor mistake, right? I should not have done this all the way. You should focus specifically on the left, the ground unit. The reason you should be focusing on the ground unit is because ground is 2 different classes, right? You have defenders and you have fighters, which means every point you put in here is doubled because you're going to be increasing both the both the defenders and the fighters stats. So if you have, all 8 of the tiles on the bottom, and you get a 1% increase in stat, you're going to be getting an 8% bonus of that stat for your entire team, which is really, really good. So highly recommend starting on this left side and getting all of these stats. And then you can move yourself over to whichever, one you're using the most of. So if you have, 5 mages and 3 of the other ones, then definitely do the mages first, right? Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of a little extra, 2.5, if you will. Another thing that I think is important is up here in the Oracle's Trials. Now, for me, I am out of this stage, but when you first start the game, you are in a sort of lower tier bracket for Oracle's Trials. And so it's a lot easier for you to push and progress in what I've deemed Podium in your events. And Podium is basically getting a first, a second, or a 3rd place in an event. As you can see, all of these bottom ones just give you energy. But when you get to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, you get crystals. So you get 2, 5, or 8 crystals, depending on if you're 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. And there's various different things. You can get way more than just 8 crystals. Sometimes there's crazy, crazy rewards up there that you can get your hands on, which can be very good. So in the early game, if you can, definitely try to Podium because you'll get a lot of extra rewards by doing so. All right, so there's some of the basic stuff. There's nothing super, super crazy. Another thing that I want to talk about, though, is Void Rift. Now, Void Rift is something that you'll unlock a little bit further into the game, but there are a few things that you can do to test the waters. One of the biggest things, guys, is when you're going in and doing your first run, push as far as you can, clear normal out completely. When you do your second run, don't just go back and do normal right away. See if you can push into elite. Right? If you could push into elite, you may be able to get better rewards. And if you can't, that's okay, because there's a free reset. If I come in here and I start my nightmare run, we'll pop in. You'll see we get this blessing thing, and then up in the top left corner, there is this button right here. You can change the difficulty level and start over, but the rewards you've earned will be cleared. So even if you go through here and you complete everything but the last boss, and you really want to complete the last boss, you can always go back, reset, and do the previous difficulty Void Rift, and you're not going to take any penalty. Okay, so that's something important to keep in mind, especially in the early game when you're trying to push yourself further and further and get as much progression as possible. Always test yourself, right? Always be testing. That's what I like to say. Always be testing. All right, guys. So another thing, back to the shop, guys. This is a big one. This is a huge one in the early game. You should be purchasing this top row. Anything that is in this top row that is for gold, you should be purchasing it as often as you can. You're going to click here. You're going to refresh. I'm going to purchase all 4 of these. Okay. Doesn't matter if they're on discount or anything. You need this food early on. In fact, I don't need it anymore. I still buy it. Because eventually I'm going to run out. And if I stop purchasing it, I'll run out. So I always buy this. Another thing. Always buy the insignias for gold. It's so much cheaper to buy these here than to go use your energy to farm them, right? Another thing that's important in the early game is sometimes the gear that you get in here will be better than the gear you can farm. So it's worth it a lot of the times to purchase the gear in here for gold. Another thing is make sure you're always refreshing this store. You get a ton of free refreshes and a ton of gold refreshes. Use all of them. I personally would never use a gem refresh, but some people use the 5s and then they stop. But that's just up to them. That's your choice. If you're a spender, feel free. I personally don't. I just do all of the gold refreshes. I don't think it's necessary to go further than that. Then we have the guild shop. So in the guild shop, there are a ton of things in here that are baits. In my opinion, you should never buy gold. You should never buy radiant meteorite. You should never buy the flawless meteorites. Realistically, you shouldn't buy the demon soldiers either. You should be buying your rare summons every week, and you should be buying your legendary skills every week. And then if you have extras, you can purchase the gold bonus. If you're in the really early game, the 4-star psychics are okay, but even I probably wouldn't purchase them in the super early game because you want to be able to pick up things like the flux pendant, for example. Even the Ichor chalice is kind of okay. Personally, I wouldn't, but the Flux Pendant is very good on specific champions, specifically those in the Chaotic faction. So this is a really good artifact to pick up. Definitely not a bad option. Then we go to the arena store, and in here, it's kind of the same sort of stuff. Buy your rare summons every week. Buy your huge stamina potions every day. You can buy the experience bonus if you need it. And then highly recommend saving for legendary skill, ancient summoning, and legendary summoning. Okay, these are locked behind specific ranks in PvP. Highly recommend you purchase these. These bottom 4 are purchasable once per month. So definitely recommend picking these up when you have the chance. And yeah, that pretty much covers that. So I guess the last thing is probably going to be on some of the stuff that you maybe don't realize is a daily type event. And so the first thing is going to be the faction trials. So faction trials you can do once per day. So you can only come in here and fight this once, and you don't get to make that up. So every day that you don't do your faction trial is a day you've lost rewards. You just don't get those rewards. So that's a pretty big loss in your progression. By pushing, you'll just lose out on these shelter insignias, which is really big. Another thing that's really cool is it actually doesn't cost anything to clear a stage for the first time. So even though I'm only on stage 10 in Trial of the Piercers, I could go in here and clear stage 10 11, and 12, and then do my free daily fight on 12 to get the rewards. So there's no need to go in here and do stage 9 and then go clear stage 10, 11, and 12. I can do 10, 11, 12, and then do my free fight on 12. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. These rewards down here are really, really good. Once you've completed all of them, you get a guaranteed legendary hero from this list of heroes, which actually has some really good heroes in it. I mean, Arrogance is here, Calypso is here, Elowin is here, Hotsoot, you know, Comet. You know, there's a lot of good heroes in here. Not only that, but you also have Lord heroes, right? Aracha is amazing. Ajax is amazing, Leia's amazing, Morrigan's amazing, Torador, Twin Fiend, Venoma, they're all amazing. So coming in here and clearing these out, prime opportunity right there. That is a daily thing, okay? You have to do this every day or you're going to fall so far behind. All right, guys, I think that probably covers the sort of main tips that I wanted to cover. That kind of answers most of the questions I've gotten in DMs and on my YouTube channel. If there's anything else that you guys think is important to include in videos like this, let me know. I think that covers a good chunk of it. I don't think there's anything crazy to go over other than that. Always make sure you're checking in on your events and your trials and doing them when they pop up so you can get your free rewards. I think that's going to be it for me, though, guys. If you like this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment down below if any of these little tips and tricks, I guess, helped you out. And welcome to the game if you're just starting. I really hope you enjoy it. I hope you stick around. And if you want more content from me to help you on your Watcher of Realms journey, make sure to hit that sub button. We are making a huge push for 5,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're almost halfway there, and every sub counts. So don't forget to hit subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.